This is Bye Bye Money, and welcome to my live trading journal with live commentary, scalping the ES using only one single setup, the two-legged pullback. If you don't know what the two-legged pullback is, it's a price action setup that looks like this. We call this the first pullback, first entry, second pullback, and second entry. We like to enter into the second entry. You can also count this like an A, B, C pattern, and the next A leg, we like to enter in the second entry. And this is a price action setup, and essentially it's a two-legged pullback. It has one pullback and then another pullback, two pullbacks upwards. Typically, the context looks like this. You have a strong downtrend, and you have a two-legged pullback, two pullbacks upwards, and then continuation of the original trend. Typically, the context looks like this. It doesn't always have to look like this, but typically, that's what the context looks like. For instance, you have this two-legged pullback right here. If you adjust it a little bit here, you have a two-legged pullback. And you can easily see it's a two-legged pullback with this indicator with the dark red number right there. But here's a two-legged pullback off the 20 EMA after a strong downtrend. So we have a strong downtrend, two-legged pullback to the 20 EMA, and then a scalp. And every scalp that you make is $250 if you have 5 contracts. And so with 2 scalps, you can make $500 a day. By no means do we have to make $500 a day. The goal is not to make $500 a day. The goal is to take the best setups possible. And so in today's session, I decided to do a raw session for you guys. Last about 45 minutes of trading today, and you can go through I'll go through my thinking process of every single trade, and hopefully that's beneficial. If you'd like to know more information about this setup here, you can check out the links below in the description, and there will be links in telling you how to find this, how to count legs, and how to identify this two-legged pullback. And we like to find this setup in key areas such as moving averages, support resistance levels, and channels and trends. For instance, we have a trading range here, and at the top of the trading range, when we have this dark red numbers, two-legged pullbacks are identified dark red numbers. You can see here you're good for scalps at the top of the trading range. Or if you're at the bottom of the trading range with dark green numbers, you're good for a scalp as well. And so the indicator, two-legged pullback indicator, automatically counts all legs for you, identifies two-legged pullbacks with dark red, dark green numbers, and also identifies traps for you with these magenta boxes. And so not only that, also tells you the next upcoming leg. So this tells you that this upcoming leg is a two-legged pullback, as you can see here, A, B, C. If it does break above here in its current state, then this will be a two-legged pullback. It will be a second entry. And so if you'd like to know more information about the indicator, go ahead and check out the official website at www.twoleggedpullback.com. You can also look and find the link on the bottom right of the screen or in the description below. That's it for the introduction. So today's video, we actually had a very strong uptrend today, and I decided to do a raw session the last 40 minutes, and hopefully that's helpful for you guys because you can see how the chart develops along with me, and also how I actually traded it, how I did my money management, how I did my runners, and where I thought my runners would go. And so hopefully that's helpful. And that's one of the benefits of the live trading. You can see the actual trade happen and the money management that goes behind it. And also you can get a sense of the anxiety that I feel for every trade because it's actually happening. And so that's part of trading, that anxiety, that human aspect. We can't ignore it. We can't forget it because we're all human here. And so hopefully the live trading is helpful for you guys. And stick around and enjoy. All right, this is the raw session for the power hour of February 23rd. And let's take a look here. Currently we're on an uptrend. And look where we are. We are right at the top of this channel here. One second. Let me clean this up here. It's making a trend line from here, these pivot lows, to this pivot high. And if you want to make a channel for an uptrend, then you connect two pivot lows that when connected intersects all the points, and go to the other side that when you make a parallel line, you find a pivot high that when you make a parallel line, it intersects no other 2 points between these two pivot lows. So this is our channel right now, and we are hitting our heads right at the top of it. Hit it once, hit it twice. And if you're gonna actually trade this, you probably want to find a nice break of trend. Currently we have this trend here, and it hasn't been broken yet, so we're still in an uptrend going into the top of the channel. And it's not enough just to hit the top of this channel, unless perhaps if you're a swing trader. And a swing trader, you can take this trade, and hopefully you can swing down, you know, to wherever, how many points you want to risk here. But for me, I'm scalping, so I need a definitive kind of reversal here. And I personally, I think even a swing trader, you should wait for the reversal here. We currently have 7 pullbacks, or essentially 7 legs up, 7 bull legs, without any bull leg breaking the previous pivot low, which is pretty strong bull trend in my mind. So with that being said, it's kind of hard to just short right here. Even though you're hitting the top of this channel, it's very hard to consider a short here. And you can see some people did short here, and you know, they shorted here, made their scalp, and they try to short again, and this time no luck. In this situation, I would wait honestly for a break of this trend line up here, this trend line, and once that is broken, then I will consider perhaps going short, but some other things need to happen after that. But currently hard to go long as well, because we are at the top of this channel, and so depending on what happens next, you know, we can consider going long or short here. All right. Let's see here. It's just a strong uptrend. I mean, strong uptrends are good if there's some pullbacks, but without any good pullbacks, it's kind of hard to trade. We had a pretty strong pullback here with a lower high or higher low here. So this trap makes a point and more. And yeah, we're just waiting. I mean, this is something you just don't short unless you have very clear evidence that this trend is reversing. And by the way, the reason why I'm doing these live scalping is because I did a poll not too long ago, and majority of you guys like live trading examples or live scalping, and so that's why I figured these are what you guys want. But bar by bar analysis also was very popular. Problems with the bar by bar is actually those clips are pretty long, because if you're going every single bar and analyzing every bar, and then yeah, it's pretty difficult, or it just takes a long time. But that came in second place, and so I'm thinking maybe 1 day a week I'll do the bar by bar, and the other days I'll just try to do some live scalping here. And typically I like to do just unedited sessions for you guys, raw sessions, because you know the benefits are obvious. You can kind of see the market developing with me, and me making you know, decisions live, and hopefully with some commentary. But I would say the commentary is a little more superficial than the bar by bar, just because I don't have enough time to articulate everything I'm thinking of and all the context that I have in my mind as the chart builds up. I can't just go over all the context over every single setup. So You just have to track along. And yeah, so currently we're just in the uptrend, and vicious uptrend here. We could make another trend like this, and we are kind of at a point where both of these are intersecting, and yeah, that could be a reason why people try to go short here. But you can't forget this uptrend that we are at currently. Just no break of it yet. And so if we're trying to go short, we need some clear evidence that there is some weakness in this uptrend. Doesn't have to be a downtrend, but there must be some weakness in this uptrend. Otherwise, you get trapped out. You already have these two traps here. So yeah, that's why you wait, or else you get trapped out like that. This could potentially give us a point here, but as I said, we want some clear evidence that this trend is weakening, and strong bull bars all the way up. We have one bear bar, a pretty strong bear bar, no follow through. And so when you start seeing, we want to see essentially more bear bars in this, basically in these series of candles. We want to see more bear bars. We have a big bear bar here, but again, no follow through, just reversed. But this is evidence that some bears here might be ready to enter in. This is evidence that there is presence. The bears are present right now. Here again, bears are present. They're making their presence known, and so what they're trying to do essentially is just scalp out, and sooner or later so those are essentially weak bears just trying to scalp out. But sooner or later, weak bears and bull or strong bears start to enter into the market. But we need to see clear evidence of that. We need to see the paw prints, let's just say, of the bears. And currently we see a couple paw prints here, but we need to see more evidence. So more bear bars ending near their low. Bull bars, no follow through on the bull bars. Essentially, probably trading range. It's going to form the trading range. The trading range probably will break down, but probably then retest the top of the trading range and then break down again. And we need to keep seeing the swings to start going to the downside. Typically, what we want to see is, first off, primarily we want to see a break of this trend line. So the chart will look something like this. It will break down. It typically will make one more two-legged pullback up, and then what we want to see is actually push down, push up. This is the sequence that we want to see here. We want to see a break of this trend line, preferably under the 20 EMA. Then we want to see the bulls make one more two-legged move up, creating a double top. But the first entry after the double top is not good enough. We want to enter the second lower high entry after the double top. So this is something what we want to see here. We want to see this sequence happening. Breakdown of this, one more test up of the highs, and then we want a lower high here. And then typically what would happen is that this would turn into a trading range of some sorts, right? If we are seriously topping out, and this lower high will be near the top of the trading range, which is exactly where you want to go short when it comes to trading ranges. But first we need to see this breakdown, so I can move this run. This looks complicated, but essentially it's a breakdown, two-legged pullback up, and also a two-legged pullback down with a lower high. This is the setup I want to see. But essentially, without the breakdown first, we cannot consider going short. But we need to see all this evidence right here. We want to see this pattern of the bears making in order us to consider going short. And essentially, yeah, we want to go short right there. That's what we're trying to enter. So we need to see all this happening, and yeah. But we'll see if this happens. We just don't know yet. I'm watching this as it's developing along with you right now. As we see, those who went short here, they did not wait long enough. They were punished for their impatience. They thought it could reverse here, but there was not enough evidence for this strong bull trend weakening. Plus, that was a terrible signal bar to enter into. So just that alone was probably enough for me just not even consider this trade. We got 3 pushes up currently, so it could potentially cause a wedge. As you can see, 3 traps upwards as the numbers continue to go up consecutively here. So we do have a wedge building here. We can also use this as a wedge as well. And so we have a potential good short here, but again, I want to go to a lower high here for the wedge. Even with a wedge, pattern what I want to see with a wedge is we have a very strong uptrend. So the wedges typically can fail. Not probability probably is, it's not super favorable to go in right now. We want to see more evidence here. So if this wedge does hit, which is looks like what's happening right now, we actually want to see a lower high. We want to see a lower high. We want to see it come down and basically create a double top here. And this double top, we want it to be lower typically. If it goes higher, it could be a breakout. But depending on how much higher and how the signal bar looks, you might consider going higher here. Typically, what you want to see is this: the wedge, it reacting off the wedge favorably for you. It makes another two-legged pullback up here, and then you want to enter down, creating a double top. This is the typical pattern that I like to see for a wedge. I want to see the double top hit here with the wedge, see if this is a bona fide wedge. Otherwise, I mean, this trend is so strong going upwards. Even with this, you could argue to wait for something like this. Bounces off the wedge, creates a two-legged pullback, and then it creates a second entry short with a lower high. You could consider something like this. And so this is the price action that I'll be looking for. But if this something like, I would be very confident to enter here with a lower high. But for those who, depending on maybe how it develops and where it develops, I could consider going short here on the test of a double top. But right now it's just way too strong, this uptrend. So this is the pattern I have for the wedge, which is very similar to the pattern I have for the breakdown and retest of the top. And yeah, so these patterns are very similar. But there's a reason why we want to see this pattern. We want the highest probability trade here, and so that's why we look for this pattern here. But we'll have to see. The wedge currently is creating a trading range, and so bulls here are potentially taking the profits right now, thus creating a trading range. That's what typically happens on a strong trend when it starts to go into a trading range. It's just the bulls or bears are taking the profits at that point. They're taking their profits, and that's why you just see this pause here in the price movement. So let's see what happens. And currently, we had not a good reaction, to be honest. Not a good reaction to this wedge. It's just a trading range at this point. Okay, actually a strong bull bar, but trading range, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4 overlapping bars. And so we wait for this. That's why we don't enter here. Potential trap, because we're just in a trading range, a small trading range here. Very small, but still, regardless, a trading range. And we start seeing trading ranges after a strong trend. Just think that people are taking their profits. Traders bulls are taking their profits in this case. Okay, so it makes a point right there. Actually, with a lower high, this is a double top, micro double top. I would consider going short if this pops above here and then creates a trap. I would consider that, because I feel like potentially this wedge has been confirmed here. 1, 2, 3 pushes up. 1, 2, 3 pushes up. So wait here. I don't have much of a trade right now here. Nothing right here. Essentially, I want to see this. I want to see a trap here. So A, B, C, second entry long, and then failed second entry long. That's what I want to see. But let's see if we'll get it. Most likely this will come and probably test the top of this trading range. I'll zoom in here. The trading range is created with these overlapping bars. The reason why the trading range indicator, it created a trading range here, and so because this trading range is still, according to the indicator, still going on, most likely it will test the bottom of this trading range sooner or later, but because this is going on, it actually does not detect this one up here because it's still calculating this one here. It's tricky. It's tricky to it just depends on how you want to create your trading range, like an indicator. Oh, so there's a trap here. Ooh, the doji. I hate dojis. Good chance for it to come down at least to the 20 EMA. Let's yeah. Okay, so it makes a perfect scalp right now, and just a perfect scalp still. Okay. I did want to go short there. Strong uptrend to the 20 EMA. Let's wait a little bit here. It does make a perfect scalp, but I want to see so it does give you a point if you did go trade this and had a small retracement, possibly even filled. But right now, the top of this trading range is acting as support. Not enough room. Top of this trading range, but enough room to the 20 EMA, just barely. You would probably have to go with a retracement there to get that point. And so they're still fighting. Bulls and bears are still fighting here. Okay, so it gives you the point actually, absolute scalp. And yeah, I missed it because I was talking too much. But we are hitting the 20 EMA for the first time here. Strong uptrend. I wouldn't be surprised if we do a test here for a double top. And so you could consider going short here or long here, but I would say good. You would need a good signal bar because yeah, right now this is kind of choppy going downwards. You are expecting some sort of test one more time up here. That's what you're expecting to happen at least once. You want a test of this trading range up here. It's typically what does happen. But perhaps the bottom of the trading range is acting as resistance now, as you can see. If this triggers it for here, I probably will look for a reversal for H4 failure. Okay, so the H4 does trigger, and I actually will enter right here where this one entered or triggered. And so I'll be interested in trade here with H4 failure. And the reason why I'm priming up now is because it's a trap, and so the H4 failure, I would consider the strength of the signal bar, but it's not as important. But we'll see here. Just because it's an H4 failure setup. Terrible signal bar. Let's see if we get up here though. Zoom in for you guys. It's a terrible signal bar, but H4 failure is what I'm trying to trade right now. So I'm taking this trade and probably, let's see if we can get a runner here. Okay, I want a runner at the top of this trading range. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to scalp out here, and then hopefully the runner can hit at least the top. That's the top trade, but we'll see. Let's just focus on the scalp first, and that's the most important thing. Then we first get the scalp. So I want the H4 failure off the 20 EMA, and this is why I entered here. Even with the terrible signal bar, I was interested in going into this trade, just because the H4 failure is a pretty good setup on a key entry point, top of this trading range here, also the 20 MA. So we have a pretty good setup. The context is very good, and so that's why I was willing to enter even with a bad signal bar. And there we go, that's with the H4 failure. And so hopefully the runner can hit at least the top of this trading range, and we're out. We're just scalping out here, and we scalped out the top of this trading range here. And so this is where we see some resistance already. So people are scalping out here top of this trading range as well, as you can see. And now we have a test of the top of this trading range, break of this trend line here, and actually it's a two-legged pullback now. So we could consider going short here, but in my mind, I want to see a lower high here. But see, the reason why I'm not super confident is because we are bouncing off the 20 MA. We use it as support, and so we could potentially be continuing our uptrend, and you typically don't want to go short when we're on a strong uptrend here. So to me, like the evidence, like we did have this pullback here, H4 off the 20 MA. Oh, very good signal bar. Oh, very good signal bar. Let me get the small retracement here. That was a good signal bar that I'm interested in. Okay, I'm in. So the good signal bar made me want to go into that. Very good signal bar, and going underneath the trading range here, we hit it. Let's see how long. Let's see how far this scalp. I really doubt it will go that far. Yeah, I guess not that. Very good signal bar. That's why I want to enter lower high here. Basically double top, retesting top of this trading range, and so that's why I entered there. Because the signal bar was so good, I was interested. And remember the context. We are like at the top of this channel, and we broke above it, and so we are overextended at the moment. Also, wedge here, hitting and reacting, in my mind, successfully as a wedge, confirming breakdown of this channel. So that's why I was willing to go short here, because we have the context set up for us here. Also this channel as well from this pivot. If I were to even clean this up, it'd be more evidence here. And so clean that up real good. And now that's where we're finding ourselves right now. Where are we up right now? We're up 525. Okay, so within about less than 30 minutes, we're able to make 500. I'll take that. You know, I could just call it a day here, but let's see if we get another good setup, and I'll be willing to go in, and then we'll call it a day. How about that? Let's see. I think the important thing is, while we're waiting for the next setup, let's look at the time frame to see where we're at. Man, oh man. All right, that's a 10K chart. Let's see, we're getting our lower high now here. Ooh, but still it's like this 20 EMA is acting as support. As you can see, we haven't really closed underneath it yet, and so take that into account. If you're going to go short and we haven't closed underneath the 20 EMA, kind of assume the market will always assume the market will do what it has been doing, unless there's ample evidence otherwise. Right, the burden of proof is on the counter trend, is on the reversal. You know, if you're trying to do a trade counter trend and or counter, when I say trend, I don't just mean trend, counter, what would you call it? Counter to what the market has been doing. I wouldn't know if I'd call that counter trend, because that assumes the trend, that there's a trend, but counter to what the market has been doing for a while. What traders will call is called inertia, market inertia. It's like a car or a train that's going and typically just doesn't stop on a dime and reverse. It slows down and it has the force to continue to do what it's been doing. And so if we haven't closed underneath the 20 EMA, expect it to not close under 20 EMA. This time it did close under 20 EMA, but it got bought right back up. And so this market is choppy, right? So we have chop here, we have chop here, we have chop here, and so we're actually in between this chop and this chop right now, these two trading ranges, and this is why we're oscillating between them right now, back and forth, because traders are trying to figure out, are we going down or are we going up? That's a good signal bar, not bad, but context, we're at the bottom of its trading range here. Okay, so as you can see, the trading range actually updated. This one, the one that's automated here, updated with these new highs here. Updates it. The trading range indicator actually counts the amount of touches to detect the upper and lower bounds of the trading range. And so actually calculates, it's defined by actually the amount of touches, so it's defined by price action actually. So I think this range indicator is probably different than most range indicators. I actually don't know how most of them are programmed, but this one actually accounts for price action, and that's what we're trying to focus on here at two-leggedpullback.com as we continue to develop this trading range indicator. I'll just say, the difficult thing is, like as I was saying before, is that it's hard to make, it's not hard to develop, but it's kind of hard in terms of what you're wanting in terms of how you want the indicator to be set up. It's a hard decision to make because you could want multiple trading ranges, and you could want multiple simultaneously going on, or you could want one trading range, like the main trading range that is being used in the market. So yeah, currently this is developed for one, and the reason being why we're deciding to do that instead of just making multiple trading ranges is because we want to account for it in terms of automated trading. That's the ultimate goal for the indicator. It's to use for automated trading, and so we're at the bottom of this trading range. That's why I didn't want to go short here, because I typically don't like to go short near the bottom of trading ranges. Al Brooks will say, imagine a trading range and it's broken into three parts. If you want to go short, make sure you're in the top upper third. If you want to go long, make sure you're in the bottom third, and don't trade when you're in the middle, or don't go short when you're lower than the third from the top, or long when you're third from the bottom. And yeah, so the ultimate goal is to use it for automated trading, and if you have multiple trading ranges, then it's actually very difficult to do automated trading based off multiple trading ranges. So we are trying to develop a trading range indicator that accurately detects the current main trading range. And so the indicator thinks that this is the main trading range, which I think it's pretty accurate because it did bounce off the bottom here. Like this didn't disappear, this is still here. So it's bouncing off the bottom of this trading range, as you can see, automatically detected by the indicator. And so, yep, it's bounced off there. And that's why I don't like to go short into the bottom trading ranges. And this is one that was automatically created, so you can imagine that those who are manually trading would have the same trading range as well. So we have a failed breakout here on the top of the trading range, the lower high, which gives us a nice point here. And yep, that's the one I entered in. Let's see here. I guess while we are waiting for the next setup, this is a two-legged pullback. How? A, B, C. And you have a good signal bar, which is a good two-legged pullback. That's what we have right here. That's why I enter short there. A, B, C. But also the indicator, two-legged pullback indicator, you can just see with the dark red one that it is a second entry. As you can see with the indicator here, the next leg, according to the current circumstance, and right now, if this reversal triggers, it will be a first entry short, first pullback, and also it will be a perfect scalp. That means this previous swing only made 5 ticks, potentially trapping traders. So the gray diamonds I typically don't trade, just because all the numbers have reset. The pullbacks have reset, the entries have reset, and so I'm not really interested in the gray diamonds here. I'm interested when the diamond is dark red or dark green, and also if there's a magenta box around the number here. And so yeah, the super signal here tells us the next information for the next leg, and that's why it's nice, because you know when you're seeing all this, this two-legged pullback, you know how hard this two-legged pullback is to find. People say, oh, you're just counting legs and it's so easy, you don't need an indicator for this. Yeah, of course you don't need it, but why not use it if you could? Because a two-legged pullback like this is very hard to detect. You know, you have basically little teeny wicks here that are about 2 ticks long, and it's kind of hard to keep track of all of this, all of these movements here in this tight of a range. And so the indicator is perfect in terms of it will find these things no matter what. You know, for us, our eyes might escape it. We might just see, oh, this is just you know, I can't really count this quickly enough, and boom, when you see a good signal bar, it's too late for you to go back. Oh, is this a two-legged pullback? And rather, you have the indicator just tell you, yeah, with a good signal bar, top of the trading range, dark red one, you're good to go. Also lower high here, but to me that's a little difficult to trade. Potentially could be in a downtrend now. Potentially major trend reversal off this wedge. Wedge here, as you can see, and then we had a push down and a two-legged pullback with a lower high. So this is kind of the setup that I was talking about. We had that push down here, right? Confirming the first push off the wedge. Two-legged pullback off the 20 EMA, which itself gives you a nice scalp. And here we have the first or the second entry here, and then a lower high here, and that's the setup that we were looking for. This is kind of helps me see that this is a potential reversal of this uptrend here. Plus we are at a key area, which is the top of this channel, top of multiple channels right now. Okay, so in the last, like, you know, I made 30 minutes. I was able to make 500, but the last 10 minutes so far, it has just been so choppy, kind of difficult to trade at the moment. So at the bottom of this trading range, we need a definitive break under this trading range for me to look for a two-legged pullback short. I need something like this. I need a breakdown here. Let's just say, like, I'll draw the entire sequence. Strong breakdown. We want a convincing, definitive breakdown. We want a two-legged pullback, and then we're expecting continuation of trend entering here. This is pretty much the bread and butter setup of the two-legged pullback. And if it works out like this, then the 20 EMA will most likely be around this area once it does get to this area. And so I'm already preemptively thinking about this setup. I'm saying I want to go short, but I need to see this happen first. Strong breakdown, two-legged pullback, back to the 20 EMA, and then I will consider go short. And that's because also context-wise, we saw all of this happen here. Bounce off the wedge, retest, double top, lower high, confirming, in my opinion, this major trend reversal. And so we do have a breakdown here. Follow through is okay. We just need a nice two-legged pullback back to the 20 EMA, or even to the bottom of this trading range here, as we can see here. So we could potentially, let's see if we get it, something like this. The structure is the same. I mean, obviously the timing and exact points of where all my things were just estimations, but the essential structure of the price action is what I'm looking for. Strong breakdown, two-legged pullback up, back to maybe the trading range, bottom of the trading range, or the 20 EMA. And then let's see if we get a good short here. Okay, so we did start our first pullback. First pullback is quite strong, stronger than you would like in order to go short. But let's see here, no follow through. Very weak follow through at the moment. Market typically, if it's a strong bear trend, will just kill two-legged pullbacks, as in it will just go in the first entries. It won't even let you go in the second entry. For those manual trading, could consider this push down here as a first entry, and when we come back up here, could consider this as a second entry. And the indicator won't detect that because the indicator only marks technical two-legged pullbacks. That means this has to break the leg, the low of the previous candle. If it doesn't, it won't detect it. I could program it to detect these hidden second entries, but in my opinion, those should be left for those who are manually trading. Okay, missed it by one tick. Still. Okay, so we lost it. We lost our two-legged pullback, as I said. The first entry, when it's a strong downtrend, is typically they don't let you in with the second entry. Only first entry is allowed. The two-legged pullback essentially is a double discount, and the market is not always willing to give you that double discount. So we're down here now. We lost this setup here. Potentially could still be looking for a two-legged pullback though. We're going back to yesterday's close. If I saw a two-legged pullback, I think I'll be interested still, but we do have to consider this, that this trading range could be retested again. So this could be a failed breakdown. So we could have a potentially a strong move back up to the top of this trading range. To me, it just depends on the context. We have about 5 more minutes before 4 o'clock, and let's see if we can get one more setup here. Let's think here. What do we got? What do we have? I would like a two-legged pullback either to the bottom of this trading range or to the 20 EMA. This is a first or second entry here. As you can see, two-legged pullback here, but not interested in this second entry. Plus, terrible signal bar. But that is a second entry. 2 pushes down. There's a trap here where the profit target for many traders is probably yesterday's close. As you can see, there's a new trading range now developing with 3 overlapping bars. Not interested here. Too far to the 20 EMA. Choppiness right now. Kind of hard to, again, you assume that the market will continue to do what it's been doing. This time it's actually breaking down further. It hasn't given you a point yet. The trap has missed a point. Okay, now the trap gives you a point. Very close to yesterday's close. And bounced right off of it. 1, 2, 3. We have a wedge here. Off yesterday's close. Potential, not bad actually. If we get a good signal bar, I could consider this trade here. The reason being is because this downtrend is not that strong. The reason I'm saying is because you see a bunch of bull bars within this downtrend. Signal bar is decent. I would like a higher low. This could easily make a point, but I would like a higher low or an H4 setup. Give me a higher low or H4 setup and I'll be going long. And look where we are at now. We're at another trend line. I don't even know what's from. It's from this low to this low. Now we're here, close to it. Give me an H4 setup or a higher low. Either one I'd be happy with. Looks like it wants to give me an H4. Let's see. So it looks like at the moment. Okay, now it's reversing. No luck. could potentially just go way up here from now and scalp out without me. One tick away from perfect scalp. One tick away from the perfect scalp. Still in a trap city here. It could potentially still give me my H4 setup, which I would love. Give me my H4. Come on. Alright, no joy. Scalps out. That's why I said this downtrend is actually not that strong, because you saw within here all these wicks, bull bars. So that's why I was almost willing to go there. I would like a higher low if possible. But at this point, the higher low will maybe be a two-legged pullback to the other side. And so I lost my second entry higher low, so I'm no longer interested in that. First touch to 20 MA, bounces right off. We've got 2 minutes left before trading close, regular trading hours close. All right. This is a higher low setup here, but I am currently not interested in this because it's not a second entry higher low. The reason why it lost a second entry higher low is because this pivot high broke above the previous pivot high, so it's no longer a second entry. It's still a higher low, but it's no longer a second entry. You could consider going here if you think this is a reversal. I don't think it's enough evidence for me. In fact, I'll probably look for a two-legged pullback. Something like this. Potentially something like this. Not interested. If there was like more room possibly to the top of this trading range and it was a second entry higher low, then I would have more incentive to go in, but that's not what we have here. Okay, almost the end of the trading day here. I would like it to pop up here to give me my second entry, which is exactly what it did. Trading range here could cause issues. Could cause issues here, this trading range. Okay, I'm in. Two-legged pullback. I don't think this is going to make more than a point. Oh, okay, there we go. Woo! So that was a two-legged pullback right there. Again, because it's not bar by bar, I don't have time to draw this two-legged pullback out and show you this, you know, real time. So that's one of the benefits of bar by bar. I have time to do these for you. But here it is, two-legged pullback. Trading range did give me a little bit of concern, but really wasn't that big a concern for me because, in my opinion, we had a strong push to the downside, two-legged pullback to the 20 MA, good signal bar, and also you're thinking retest of the lows one more time before really reversing here. You wanted some sort of double bottom. All right, it's 4 o'clock. We're gonna end it there. Where did we end up with today? 775, not bad. I'll take that. That was in the last about 45 minutes of trading for today in the power hour. Hopefully this has been helpful for you, and also if it has been helpful, you know, it helps us a lot if you hit like and subscribe, and help us tremendously if you share with a friend. Those who want to learn price action trading, and yeah, it takes me a while to make all this content, produce all the content for you, and also personally I'm like at risk. My trading essentially degrades as I do this because of all the like commentary, trying to get it all out, thinking about you know, how to articulate this to another person while it's happening, and for me wanting to trade it as well. So you know, there's risk for me to do this, so it helps me a lot if you support this channel just by hitting like and subscribing. So appreciate it. Of course you don't have to, but I think if you enjoy this content, you know, it's just the honest thing to do it's just, you're just being honest if you like the video. So yep, regardless, appreciate it that you had joined me today, and as always, happy trading and God bless.